Hello and welcome to Bond Football TV. I'm your host Aaron Malolo, and of course I'm here with the pundit in the making, Klaisi Shavambo. Chief,
Man, I good man.
I'm fine. Chief, how are you?
I'm awesome, man. I'm awesome. You can even see the smile on my face.
Of course, this man is happy. He's a Chelsea fan. Chelsea 2 out of 2. So
I mean, London is blue. I'm sure everybody saw the match. Lukaku was bossing the game. Rhys James was bossing the game. Antonio Rudiger was doing his stuff. Like everybody was just on point, man. Like I was so happy, man. Even when they brought in Kante, I was like, "Ah, let them go. Like they had enough, man. They had enough.
okay, wow. So this guy seems to be very happy, but I mean, we also have to give it to Chelsea. These guys played their hearts out. But for you, who impressed you in that game?
For me, man, it would have to be Rhys James. Because if you look at how he played, man, taking from the right side, like that guy is a natural right wing back.
Yeah.
Like it's natural for him.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he'll be really suited for a back four position.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's a
yeah,
natural right wing back position kind of a guy. The only way you can suit him in a four defensive, it's only if you let him go and let the
Yeah.
left guy
And
stay
you drop
behind.
someone from the middle.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. Like I love Rich James, man. I always enjoy watching Rich James, and the only bad thing about Rich James is my age. So, I'm so jealous.
So is your man of the match?
He was definitely my man of the match, man. We could see Lukaku was bossing the defense,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Rich
yeah.
James was doing all the things. Like it was making things to happen.
But I mean, also credits to Lukaku for scoring a goal on debut.
Lukaku always scores on his debuts, man. Like if you look at the stats, like it's not really surprising that he scored a goal. But Lukaku always scores. Even at Inter, he was scoring. West Brom, he scored. Man United, he scored. So scoring on his debut is not really something really surprising.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
just want to
not
see if
wow.
the consistency really goes on, like he's gonna score. Like obviously, we're playing against Liverpool next week, so that's
Yeah,
where
we
we're
want to
looking for.
see
Like
him,
he's gonna be against real defenders, not Pablo Mari or that other guy. He's gonna be against Matip
Virgil
or
van Dijk.
Virgil van Dijk. Those guys
Yeah,
are big personalities. Those guys are big guys. You can't just boss them around the way he was doing at Arsenal.
Okay, so but there's one thing also I like that you say that of course we know Chelsea is winning, they are on form. The guys, I mean, they are the European champions. So you said you wanted us to talk about Arsenal. I don't know where you want to start.
Just tell me, man, if you look at the way Arsenal is playing, are you really happy about their performances? Do you think it suits them the way they're playing?
Well, honestly, I don't. You can see that the style of play that Mikel Arteta came with, he's really forcing it into the guys.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a game now. I don't remember if it was Man City or Liverpool. The guys were really pressing. They were trying to play the ball from behind, and they were struggling. I mean, so it's like they are squashed and they can't do anything. They have to do what the manager tells them, which is why you could see that. Alexandra Lacazette and Aubameyang, they were said that they're not in good terms with the coach because they can see that the strategy that the coach is bringing, it's not working, and the coach keeps on telling them that they need to do it. You see?
Yeah, so and to bring into the subject of Lacazette and Aubameyang, those guys have been in the game for way too long, man.
Experience.
Experience. The guy, Mikel Arteta, is trying to force something like you can't teach old dogs new tricks.
Yeah.
I think you said this last week. I think it was yesterday when we were
Yeah,
talking.
yeah,
You can't
yeah.
teach new old dogs new tricks. So that's why it's like you get a system that was working, and then you try to change it into a system that you think when it's the best. Mara,
Yeah.
you don't really have the personalities for all of those things
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not Man City, man. Let's be honest. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
it's not.
Let's put it out there. Arsenal is trying to play like Man City, and they
And they
won't be able
can't.
to play like Man City.
They don't have the squad depth.
They don't have the squad depth. They don't have the quality players. All the guys they are getting are decent.
Yeah.
Like if you wanna get those, it's a fact, man.
They're a big team with decent players.
They're a
Like,
big team with decent players. Let's look at the guys. Lokonga. Let's look at the guy. Who's the
Ben White.
even Ben White. Those guys are just decent. Ben White is from Brighton, man, and Brighton was in,
a small team.
in what position was Ben White in? Like in Brighton.
Yeah.
Like,
12,
like
12, 14,
they're
somewhere there.
mid-table teams. They're getting
Yeah.
players from mid-table teams and trying to put them in the Premier League. And what I hate most about Arsenal is they are playing with young kids. I love seeing the young kids in the field,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, true.
But you can't really force a big match to young kids.
Yeah,
Let's
big
look
game
at
temperament.
let's look at how we let's look at the match we played. Chaloba was playing in the Super Cup. Chaloba was playing on our first match, but it was dropped against Arsenal. You
Yeah.
don't need kids. You
Yeah,
don't need
yeah.
to put unnecessary pressure to kids. That's why
Exactly.
you need to have big personalities on the squad so that you can have at least some good results.
Yeah.
Those guys know how to deal with players like Lukaku.
Yeah.
You need to have those big personalities, man.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
those
yeah.
big guys like. Too bad Party was injured.
And also another thing, I mean, to be honest, Arteta came from Man City as Pep's assistant. Now he came to a big club. So now, if we look at it, the structure of Arsenal, we can just say Arsenal is it's a young team from the coach. Basically, they're inexperienced from their coach to the players. You see,
And worst of all, they're putting the experience on the bench.
exactly. You see,
So what do you expect? You're putting your captain on the bench, and then you bring him in on the 80 something minute and expect him to do magic. Are you serious? Like you listen to Neil, and then you bring in Aubameyang after 80 something minutes. Like that was embarrassing, man. Like I couldn't really understand what's wrong with Arsenal, man. Like
yeah. So
let's look at how Chelsea. Okay, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I'll always use
Make
Chelsea
an
as a
example,
yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
always
true.
use Chelsea as a reference. Ne? So if we look at how Arsenal is playing, like look at the system of Arsenal, it's almost like Man City. But if you look at how Chelsea is playing, even though Tuchel came in and bring in his style of play, like you have to hold the ball, we have to play on the ball instead of doing counters. But
Yeah.
he's flexible sometimes in matches.
Yeah,
Like if you
yeah,
see
yeah.
when we play against Man City, we don't always have to play on the ball when we're playing with Man City. We know they are better side when it comes to
Yeah,
holding.
yeah.
So we do counter attacks. We do
Exactly.
so Michael Arteta can't really do that because he's still young. Like he's still young on his coaching career, on his coaching career. So it's almost like he doesn't know how to be flexible in these
Yeah,
matches.
yeah,
Some
very
matches you
true.
don't need to start from the back. You're playing against Man City, they'll press you. You're playing against
Exactly.
Liverpool, they'll press you. Playing against Chelsea, they'll press you. So
Use that against them.
use that against them. Do counters,
Exactly.
man. That's it.
Yeah, of course, we're not very impressed with Arsenal. And I mean, if he continues to play like this and he keeps on losing, I don't see him lasting there. But I don't want us to waste all our time on Arsenal. Who else impressed you this weekend?
Man, let me like there isn't really a team which okay I hate Liverpool so
Players.
okay I hate Liverpool so let me just talk about let me talk about okay Liverpool impressed me, man. Honestly, let me from a serious side, honestly, Liverpool impressed me, like from the way they are integrating Jota into the squad,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah. That's beautiful.
it's Tsimikas,
Tsimikas, yeah.
the left back. Ah man, that guy is so good. I'd actually be disappointed if they drop him for Robertson. Although Robertson is a much better defender, but I think Tsimikas deserves a chance. So tell me when I
Two assists, of course,
yeah
for Tsimikas.
yeah so
And there's one thing also I like that you spoke about before this video, before we were live. You spoke about the fact that since Virgil van Dijk, the team, since he came back, the team is more confident. Like you can see they are jubilating,
Yeah.
confidence is oozing out of the players. I think I also like that.
yeah
But for me, this weekend, let me see. Well, of course, even last weekend, I'm a Man U fan. I was impressed by Pogba. I mean, 5 assists in 2 games. You see, even though of course Man United they dropped the ball. I mean, winning 5-1, and then you play against a small team like Southampton, you drop points. You see, so. And I think also our problem Man United, we don't really have a central defensive midfielder because if we keep on depending on people like Fred, you see, because I mean if you put Fred and Kante in the same sentence, you can see the difference. Like you also have to like Melu Kuze no, you see, because Kante is on one level and now Fred, you see. So I think that's our problem, and I mean, praise to De Gea, man, for those saves he made. Otherwise, we would have lost
obviously
that game.
Yeah.
We would have lost that game.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other player that maybe impressed you this past weekend.
For me, I think when it comes to Man United, like it almost seems like the pressure is off Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
look at how they play. Like almost seems like Pogba has lifted that pressure from Bruno Fernandes and told, and it's almost like they had a conversation like,
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
don't stress yourself. I
Yeah,
got you
yeah,
this.
very
I
true.
got you this season. Because
Thank you. That's
it seems like Pogba is maybe he was seeing Varane on the stands and he was confused that maybe it's playing for France. Because you
yeah,
know when he's playing for France, he's always
yeah,
a top world class player.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know, man. Pogba has been showing up. Like we're seeing the real Pogba.
Yeah,
Like
this is the one. This is the Pogba we always
this
wanted
is
to
the
see.
Pogba you invested on because you spend a lot of money for Pogba, man. So
Yeah,
he should really put on some returns.
yeah,
And
yeah.
one thing that's disappointing for Man United, I think Ole just I don't know, he put his foot off the gas for a bit. Like if you look at the squad, I think they were really underestimating Southampton, man.
Yeah, they
Because if you
did.
look at like why would you put Martial? Why would you keep Martial away from the starting 11?
You put Jadon Sancho in the bench, Cavani in the
The
bench.
bench. Like, are you serious? Why did you buy? Okay, why did you buy Jadon Sancho if you're gonna bench him?
If you wanna bench him,
Are you gonna treat him like the way you did Van de Beek?
you see now the
Pel-
boys on the bench.
See, and if we look at how Van de Beek is doing, like the guy wasn't even given a chance to prove himself.
He was
Like
never,
you're coming from Ajax, and
and he
then
was doing good there.
he was doing
Got
good.
game time.
Everything like he was one of the dependent players in Ajax, and then when he came to Man United, he wasn't given a chance because
Yeah,
they are big personalities. Obviously, you can't bench Greenwood. Okay, Greenwood. Why would you bench Greenwood? But why would you put Martial on the squad? I'm always confused. Why would you put Martial? Why would you put Matic? That guy,
like
the guy is tired. Like why? I'm always so confused, man. Like always, it seems like you have a good game week, and everybody it seems like
then
Man
you drop
United
the
will,
ball,
yeah, everything just seems like Man United will take everything, and
and
then
then they drop the
they
ball.
drop the ball because that performance was poor. You didn't even deserve to win that match.
Yeah, no, that is very true. Well, I think on that note, we can move on to lighter news. Let's move on to our rivalries, City. They won 5-0, and we saw a lot of different scorers. We saw some other players doing things that we never thought they could do. For instance, Gabriel Jesus, the guy is assisting now. Pep is playing him from the side, and we can see also the combination between him and Kyle Walker that is lethal. I mean,
So I mean, okay. I just want to ask you this question.
yeah,
Do you think they'll still invest? They are okay. There's still that thing about them still not giving up on Harry Kane and whatever.
Kane,
Eh?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But do you think if maybe they don't get Harry Kane or maybe they don't sign a striker, do you think maybe they should just consider playing Gabriel Jesus more instead of just going back to the same strategy they had last season? Because I think like that strategy is not working anymore. 'Cause-
Well, I think it's important to have someone that you can always say you rely on, like a striker, so that if you are not scoring goals, you know who to go to say, hey, chief, we need to be scoring goals. Like you are saying, you see the strategy now of saying goals will come from anyone. You see, there's no accountability there.
Exactly.
Because if they are not scoring goals, you can't go to Mahrez and say, because that's not his primary role. You understand? So, but I also had rumors between City and Lewandowski because they said he wanted to leave Bayern and Hurricane. I don't think Tottenham will let Hurricane go. So I saw also Pep in these last 2 game weeks. He's been playing Ferran Torres now. And in one of the interviews, when they asked him that, hey, you have been playing Ferran Torres, he said Ferran Torres has it in him. He can see that striker thing that he has it in him. Of course, he has not scored in 2 games. Of course, you can't judge him based on those 2 games. Because I think 2 years ago, he also spoke about Phil Foden, that Phil Foden is going to emerge. He also spoke about Gundogan, that Gundogan will start scoring goals. And last season, we saw all those things he has been speaking coming into life. So I think based on history and based on experience with Pep, I think it's safe to say Ferran Torres is going to be the next, because the guy is still young. I think he's 21 or 22.
Yeah, it's still a kid, man.
Yeah, so I think we have done justice for this weekend. I think maybe for the next 2 minutes we can just talk about the upcoming game, of course, which is playing tonight, Leicester City and West Ham.
Yeah, so for me, I think Leicester City has the edge on this one. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel it in my. I just feel it in me that Leicester has more to offer than
Why?
West Ham. Cause after okay, they have okay. West Ham has Antonio. They have Bowen. They have Suchek who
Yeah,
are
who
goal
are good.
scorers. Like
Yeah.
those guys are good, but I just feel like Leicester has something to prove for this season. Like you saw how they played last season, like
Yeah.
last game. I mean, how they played almost like they were coming from behind. Actually, I thought maybe Leicester would
They were
lose.
gonna lose,
Yeah,
yes.
but I saw that fire in them. Like they bottled the top four for the two whole seasons. So I think
Mm,
they have that fire that
they are hungry
they
now.
are hungry.
They want to take all the points
Yeah,
they can
they
get.
want to take all the points they can get. Obviously, they can see that Man United dropped the point, Man City dropped the point. So I'm sure they want to capitalize on that
Yeah.
on that edge. Like we need to take some points from this big club, obviously.
But also, I mean, don't you think also West Ham has something to prove, considering how good they finished the season? I mean, you remember how Jesse Lingard was bossing everyone around, scoring goals. Don't you think they have something to prove to say, hey, we were not depending on Jesse Lingard. We can do this on our own.
Yeah, that's why I said. That's why I said I just feel it. It wasn't something really about like
Yeah, statistics.
statistically,
Yes, yes,
like
yes.
the
You
Leicester
just
would
had to
win.
choose Leicester on this
Like
one.
I just like here I'm just choosing a side. Like
Okay.
I'm just choosing a side. Like
Because you have to choose a side.
because I have to choose a side. I'm like as a fan. Like sometimes even though you don't really care about the match, but you have to
You
choose a
just have to
side.
choose a
Like
side.
okay, I'm with Leicester on this one. But I
Yeah.
think West Ham are more solid. I think they're more solid at the back these days.
Yeah.
I think even I don't know. Declan Rice hasn't pitched in since
Yeah.
he came back from the Euros. I don't know why. I don't know why he's not really that impressive. I don't know. Maybe he'll pick up his form
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
time goes
Yeah.
by. But I just feel like Leicester has more to them. Like I think they gonna win this one.
Okay, that's it from us for the weekend preview, and of course, we'll be posting more content on our YouTube channel. Be sure to like this video, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Would really appreciate your support. And also comment on the comment section. Talk to us. Who has impressed you? We know Brighton has won their first two games of the season, so you can always talk to us. Who impressed you? And from me and then Tlaisi, God bless.